So I guess I should say welcome back. Episode 2 of Basics to Blacksmithing or Bladesmithing. Today we're going to talk about hammers and some of the different hammers that you're going to want to use. And of course, keep in mind this isn't an exhaustive list. This is just an introduction to the basics of what different hammers you're going to want to use, and maybe a few of the extras. Just things that I use for either blacksmithing or bladesmithing. So I'll show you some of the basics, and then I'll show them in action, and then from there we'll see where we'll go next for the third episode. But for now, one thing at a time. So let's talk about hammers. You need something to hit your steel with. Now there's a couple types, and they all have a utility. There's not really one hammer that's perfect for everything, but there are certain hammers that can do a lot of things. So the first one that we'll talk about today in this episode is the heavier hammer. Now for blacksmithing and bladesmithing, typically you want to make sure your hammer faces are smooth and rounded. So I rounded this one on my own because when I first got it, it was kind of sharp on the edges. And that's good because that will really transfer to your material. So if you take a swing at a piece of hot metal and it's got a sharp edge, you're going to get this ring in the metal. So you don't want that. So whatever hammer you use, you really want to smooth out those edges. But this guy is a 3-pounder. Now this is really good for moving some heavy material. So you've got your bar stock, typically for bladesmiths, and it's not the shape that you want it, and this is only 1/8, but for some of the thicker stuff, it's hard to move it with a lighter hammer. So 3, 4, maybe 5 pounds if you're just doing a one-hand swing and it's not a full-on sledge for real heavy stuff. You're going to want that because it'll give you more power. But what you won't get is precision and control comparatively. So this could do pretty much everything, but if you try to do a lot of forging with a heavy guy, you're going to end up getting really tired out. So it's up to you, whatever works for you, but that's basically what I do. So I'll use my big guy for 3/16 or thicker. That's a thick knife, it's a thick steel, and it needs a little more oomph behind it in order to get it to move really well. For me, that's how I do it, okay? So if you don't feel that way, it's fine, do it your way. But first one is a 3-pounder, 3-ish pounder, heavier. The other one is this guy. There's a plane going by, but that's fine. This guy is a 2.5 pounder. Now for me, it actually makes kind of a big difference. Half a pound, I don't know. But I use this guy as what we call a cross peen. This is very useful. Again, I'll show you some of it in action so you can see what I mean. But again, I've rounded the face, and this will be for my style, this is my go-to kind of a little bit of everything hammer. It's a lot lighter. I can choke up on it, or I can deliver some stronger blows by coming back on the handle a little bit, and the cross peen will help me do some shaping and will also help me draw out the blade, the material, but we'll do a tutorial on that later. So this for me is my jack of all trades. I can finish a blade like this even though it will be a little heavy, or I can really move some heavy material even though it's a little light. I really like this one, and having the cross peen on it gives you a lot of versatility all in one hammer. So look at that, 2.5 pound is a good all-around hammer. The other one, let's see, let's talk about this. Now this is more specialized. This is a Japanese style forging bladesmith hammer, dog's head. It's pretty unique and pretty interesting, and I really like it for forging in the bevels of a blade. I won't rough shape the blade with it, but I will do the bevels. The reason being is that, of course, you can choke up on it and do some lighter, more precision stuff. But the way that the weight is centered further towards the head means that you can have a lighter hammer, but it will deliver a stronger hit because it's weighted forward. I don't know the physics behind it, but I do feel the difference drastically. So if you really want to do it, figure it out, just Google and do a search on dog's head hammers. Primarily used for forging in the bevels. You don't need this. You can easily do it with anything else, but I thought it was pretty cool. I was pretty interested in it, so I got one, and I like it a lot. Make sure you drop things regularly. Now the next one that I'll go to that I would say is not a necessity, but extremely helpful, is a very light one. This is 16 ounces, and it has a ball peen. Now ball peens are nice for all kinds of things. First of all, I'll use a 16-ounce hammer for cleaning up the forge, straightening the blade, the fine details. So for instance, I like to use ball peens for sometimes to help me on some of the curvature when I'm having a hard time. Like maybe the horn of the anvil isn't quite the shape that I need for a certain grip point or something, whatever the case is. So I can hold it and use the ball peen to sort of shape it a little more how I want. You can also use it to texture the face of your blade a little bit, but that's completely optional. But it really helps with a lot of different aspects of knife making to work and improve your finish forging, which gives you less material to take off when you're grinding. So I suggest practicing that. So put that down. Ball peen. The other one can texture a hammer to add a certain stylistic approach to your blades. So not the bevel, clearly, because that's going to be clean. A clean bevel makes a clean cut. This isn't done. But the face of the blade here, you can use a hammer with file marks or cut marks or whatever in a certain pattern, and then when it's nice and hot, you can strike carefully the face of the blade in different ways to give it sort of a texture. Not an essential, not super important. Some people really dislike it, some people really love it. It's completely up to you. I personally think it's pretty cool, and I have never noticed a performance issue with texturing the blade. Not everyone will agree with that, but that's just my personal opinion. And I use my knives a lot. I use them hard. So those are the basics that you're going to need with hammers for blacksmithing or bladesmithing. If anybody has a suggestion on some more, go ahead and comment. If anybody has questions, go ahead and comment. Yeah, like I was saying though, later on in other tutorial videos, I'll be doing more about the different types of hammers, and I will show you exactly how to use different aspects of each. But for now, let me give you a close-up onto each type of hammer just so you can get a really good look at them. All right, once again, here's a close-up on the hammers. This is the heavier one, the 3-pounder with a nice, well, I mean, it's been a little bit abused, but you get the idea. More of a rounded edge, so it's a little softer, but it's nice and heavy. It'll get a lot of work done for you when you need to move some heavy materials. Here's a 2.5-pounder. Again, smooth out that face, which that needs work. And a cross peen to help you do some more shaping. And then you have your dog's head. Let me figure out a place to put this. There we go. Dog's head, I bought this one off Amazon. Clearly you can see how it's weighted forward, but I'll give you an idea. Then you have your ball peen. This is a 16 ounce. Not too bad. I didn't round that at all. It's a very sharp edge, so maybe I'll do that at some point. And a close-up look on the texture. Super not important, but it is an option. Give it a shot, see what you think, try it out. Until then, thanks for watching. Subscribe, or whatever, you know, and we'll have another video coming up.